Today we're talking about one of my favorite mixing techniques, parallel compression. You guys aren't going to want to miss this one, so stick around after this introduction. Welcome everybody, I'm Dan Spencer, and I am the Audio Sorcerer. So this is the channel where I teach you how to perfect your audio recording, mixing, and mastering skills. So before we get to the video, make sure you guys smash that like button, please subscribe and hit that notification bell to know when I have new videos coming out. So with that being said, today we are talking about parallel compression. And I've been wanting to make this video for a long time because if you guys have been following my channel here, I have used parallel compression in my mix series and probably several other tutorials, but I want to go over it in detail today related to a full drum mix because I feel like out of all the times I use parallel compression, the drum mix is where I think my mixes overall benefit the most from it. So if you guys are watching this video and you don't know what compression is, I recommend you checking out a video I have popping up in the top right corner now called Stavros Technique to Compression. And this video will teach you how to use a compressor and let you hear what each parameter does on it. So definitely check that out now or after the video if you guys have time. So back to parallel compression here. So parallel compression is basically taking either a uncompressed signal or slightly compressed signal and then copying it. So when I say signal, I mean like a particular track. So we'll say, let's just use like a kick drum, for example. So we have a uncompressed kick drum. So we make a copy of that track and then we compress the crap out of the second track, which is our parallel compression, and then we blend them together. So the concept of this is that you're still going to have dynamics in your mix for that particular instrument, but having it overcompressed with the parallel compression is going to kind of bring some things out of it. It's going to squeeze some things, maybe things that you didn't hear before, out of it, and then you're going to blend that in with the dry or slightly wet signal that is your non-parallel track. So that is kind of the concept of parallel compression. And so with a drum mix here, we're going to take our whole entire drum mix and we're going to make a copy of it. And then we are going to parallel compress that copy and then we're going to blend it in. And doing that, we're going to get a more punchy and bigger drum sound. So that is what we're going to achieve today, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So let's get to it. All right, so let me let you hear my drum mix without parallel compression first, so we have a basis to start with, and then I'm going to show you the process of how we're going to add it in. So let's give it a listen. Alright, so we got a pretty solid drum mix to start with, and that's definitely what you want. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to create a stereo aux track, and I recommend putting it next to your drum bus. So if you guys remember, it is Control-Shift-N on a PC and Command-Shift-N on a Mac to launch a new tracks window. So we'll do aux track, we'll do stereo, and then we're just going to call this pair of drums. Cool, so we got our pair of drums track here. Now, on your drum bus here, we want to send a copy of the drum bus to our pair of drums aux track here. So if we go up to the send here, I already created one here, so we're going to find pair of drum, which is right here. And we're going to put this all the way up to unity. And we're actually going to send it pre-fader, so click the little pre button here. So what this does is it's going to send a exact copy at unity over to this pair of drums aux track we created, and it will be independent of the actual fader on the drum bus here. So when we turn this up and down, it's not going to affect the volume of the pair of drums, and that's very important. So now that we have our feed over to here, we actually need to put the pair of drums on the input here so that we can actually get it in. And we got it here. And then I'm going to want to send the output of my pair of drums to wherever my drum bus is going. So your guys' chain of events may be set up a little different than mine, but I do recommend sending your pair of drums to wherever your drum bus is going. Don't send it back to the drum bus, or you're going to create a loop, so we don't want to do that. So for me, it's drum mix. So I will route this to the drum mix. Cool. All right. So we have our routing all in place now. So the next step is going to be to actually add the compressor onto the pair of drums aux track. So choosing the right compressor for your parallel track is very important. So for the drums, we are actually going to use the Monster, which is located in the Slate VMR plugin. So let me crack that open here. Now, I actually have a full tutorial / review on every module within this plugin here. So I have a link popping up in the top right corner now. Definitely check that out after this tutorial. So first we're going to hit the little trash can button here, get rid of all those, and then we're going to add in the Monster. So the Monster is a recreation of the 1176 compressor, but with all of the buttons pressed in. So it's basically being used in super mode. And Slate has added a few extra features into this little module here to make it even that much better. So we're actually going to use a preset. We're going to use one called Drum Group Smasher. And the reason I use this preset is because, well, the name, of course, because it does what I want it to do, but these are actually the same parameters I set when I set my compressor from scratch. So we have the fastest possible attack time, and we have the fastest possible release time, which is actually all the way to the right on this compressor. Now, the reason we want the fastest or as close to the fastest attack time as possible is because we want it to grab the transient right off the bat. We're not looking for dynamics from the parallel compression track. That is going to be on our unprocessed track. And then for the release, that kind of helps get us a little bit of a, I don't want to say pumping sound, but you'll kind of hear what it does when we listen to it. And then this compressor does not have a threshold, so we're going to use the input to send more volume into it to get our gain reduction. Definitely have the punch knob in here. This helps add back some of the punch. Even though we're compressing the crap out of it, this little punch button is kind of nice. Nice little feature just in this compressor. And these are features in this compressor that may not be in the compressor you end up using for when you do parallel compression, if you don't have this one. This one allows us to ignore frequencies below a certain point. And this one is set at around 100 Hertz, and this one is set at about 6 kilohertz. So what it's going to do is it's going to ignore frequencies below 100 Hertz. That means these frequencies aren't going to trigger this compressor. And it's also going to ignore frequencies above 6 kilohertz. So you got it on both ends of the spectrum there. And then a mix knob. So the mix knob is great because this allows you to, well, you know, if we smash this really hard, so you're going to see that we're probably going to get between 7 to 10 dBs of gain reduction. And we can actually use this mix knob to either bring in some more or dial it back to where we just think it sounds good. So I think compressors with a mix knob make a huge difference for the end user, allowing us to have more ways to get the sound we're looking for. So now that we have this on here, let's actually give a listen just to the pair of drums track, and then I will dial it in. All right, cool. So we definitely smashed the crap out of there. So you can see that it brings a lot of sound from the drums from around it and beneath it and kind of brings it forward. So that's the point of this. We're kind of bringing this big sound forward. So I added a trimmer knob in here to turn down the output because obviously the level went up. I could have just used this knob here, but you know, whatever. So what we want to do now is simple. We just actually want to blend in this fader with our overall drum mix until we get the sound we're looking for. Again, it should be more punchy and it's going to sound bigger. So let's do that now. All right, cool. So I think that's sounding really good. And I think where you hear it the most is on the kick and snare drum, but definitely more so the snare drum. You're hearing a little bit more extra snap and fullness come from it by adding this in. So what I want to do for you guys is I want to do a before and after. So we will listen in solo mode first, before and then after, and then we will listen to it in the mix before and after. And I'm going to do my best to do a level balancing of it for you because obviously adding in this parallel track made the drums sound quite a bit louder. So let's give it a final listen. All right, so that is parallel compression, and it definitely made our drum track sound a little bit bigger. We got some more snap out of the snare drum. We also got a little bit more sustain. If you listen to that cymbal crash, it stands out a lot better now. So I guess what you could take from this tutorial is that adding parallel compression will make your track sound a little bit more professional. So that is one of the secrets that many of the top engineers use to take their mixes to the next level. So I hope you guys learned a lot in this tutorial. And if you guys have any questions on parallel compression, on maybe what other instruments I use it on, maybe any other techniques or other settings I use, definitely hit me up in the comment section below, and I'll get back to you. But yeah, I mean, if you guys like this tutorial, give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe and hit that notification bell to know when I have new videos coming out. So with that being said, until the next video, I will see you guys later, and peace out.